All right, all right. Yeah, happy to have all you here. So I'm Dan, investor at Hashed, based in Singapore, and so excited to moderate this session, discussing which like AI should like potentially work out in the crypto space. So like literally today, like AI is like influencing every single vertical, and crypto is one of the hottest like ground such intersections. So regardless of how it is practically working out as a part of the product, or just like used as a marketing buzzword in like a short term pace, for both like way I think like AI is a thing that we should like definitely like consider as a like serious category within the industry. So really happy to like have a group of experts here today, helping out to understand more about like the real value and what like the intersection of the like crypto and AI can bring to the space. So yeah, we have Liu from KAITO and Sanjay from CryptoMine, and Dan from Aether, and Andy from Mugen Interactive. So could you like each of you briefly give an introduction starting from you, of yourselves and what you're working on now in the space?
Sure, maybe I'll just start. Hello, everyone. My name is Yu Hu. I'm the founder and CEO of KAITO. Very brief introduction of my background. I was actually in traditional finance for almost a decade. Most recently, before KAITO, I was a trader. I started out for about 5 years. Got very, very interested into crypto. Started doing a lot of the part-time research in the space, but realized that doing research is extremely difficult. Information is literally all over the place. I had to constantly, go through Twitter, Discord, Telegram, Media Mirror, all that kind of stuff. To the point, I realized that why don't I just build something? So we started building KAITO around about 2 years ago. It was an AI search engine that obviously aggregates all the information sources, crypto related into one place, but also at the same time synthesize and really kind of distills relative insights for people. So we recently launched around about 3 months ago, and over the past 3 months, we've onboarded more than 200 institutions in the space. So one of the largest AI applications now in crypto. So that's kind of the institutional offering that we have. We're now working on our retail product, which is effectively a decentralized AI that's leveraging a lot of the AI capabilities that we have, but also crowdsourcing intelligence from all the community. So stay tuned in terms of what we're going to be launching. I'm very excited to be sharing some of the stories here today.
Cool. Yeah. Moving on to Sanjay.
All right. I'm Sanjay, the co-founder of CryptoMine Group. So basically, we are the largest ecosystem builder in Thailand. Been in the space for 7 years now. So since 2017-18. In CryptoMine Group, we have a wide array of businesses, from the helping project, doing the go-to-market strategy in Thailand, organizing a couple of meetup events, conference, and helping like a lot of strategic-wise on the community development front and whatnot on the whole thing, right? And on the other side, we have 2 regulated business as well, and 2 license. One is the advisory license by the Thai SEC, and one is the fund management license. So we are like one of the licensed fund management platform in Thailand. AUM around like 70-80 million right now. A basket of very long only passive fund. Due to regulation, we can't do much at the moment. So hopefully, I think that might be able to change the future. And on the CryptoMine Lab side, we also work on incubation, venture building, investment in a couple of projects. Like the project we incubated for one is used to be called Gilfi, now it's called Zentry. So recently just rebranded. Pretty active in the space for quite a while. And we also have a deep research team in different sector, AI, RWA, gaming, whatnot, right? So we do quite a range of businesses, yeah.
Awesome. It's tough to follow that up. Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Dan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Aether. I started in traditional finance back in the day, but then spent the bulk of my career in gaming. Ended up as the COO for Riot China before entering kind of the Web3 space a few years ago. Here at Aether, we're building a decentralized cloud infrastructure specifically focused on latency sensitive and real-time use cases like AI inferencing and cloud gaming. I'll keep it there and leave it to Andy.
Great. Hi everyone. My name is Andy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mugen Interactive. We're a Web3 gaming studio based in Hong Kong, creating 2 titles coming up. One is called Legend of Arcadia, which is an idle-based RPG card game backed by Animoca Brands and OKX. And then the second one is Last Odyssey, an SLG game that is not Mafia, but a little bit different. Just keep it under the hood for a little bit. I can talk more about it in a sec. But and then I started my career in, unfortunately, traditional finance, like a lot of us on stage as well too. Had a really boring career in sitting in this room and just doing like financial models, and decided I had revelation one day to change the world. And I went to gaming to build PUBG at Tencent. So I started building a lot of these games projects. Spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia and India as well back in the days. And here I am, decided to change the world again, hopefully, and with my Web3 games.
Yeah, that's super cool. Like super excited to like see a bunch of the folks really moving from the Web2 space, like traditional space, to the crypto space. So yeah, I'll start with like today's discussion with Sanjay. So you would be like great to it would be really great to hear about how you're like excited about the cross play of the AI and the blockchain. So do you think this is right timing for both of the investors or the builders to get excited with like what we can do with AI?
Yeah, so for me, like in the blockchain space, right, whether it's AI or anything, right, all the innovation always in the real world always reflect in the Web3 world. So you look at the last time we had the talk about metaverse, there's a couple of metaverse building on the blockchain side, right? But whether it can get massively adopted is different question, right? So with the recent onboarding of all the AI, ChatGPT, all the hype around it, right? I mean, AI is kind of a different field, right? It's very centralized. It takes a huge amount of capital to actually build a real AI, I would say. So sometimes when you talk to people, they might be called AI as in disguise, but it's actually just using big data, right? So just to be fair on some of those, right? I mean, like to be really deep into AI, you have to like put a lot of resources in. But I think there's kind of like a different outlook on this on my end, right? So in the AI, it's like everything is super centralized, right? All the data is on one side. You need huge amount of capital to be built, huge amount of team, whether it works or not, another question. But on the crypto side, on blockchain side, is everything is about decentralization, right? And everything's like transparency. So that is where I see the convergence or the intersection coming in, right? So in terms of complementary, I would say like blockchain can help with the transparency going on in the AI scene as well. Like there's a lot of talk about like data privacy going on the AI. Like you don't even know, right? Sometimes like AI might even know more data than us, and everything is centralized right there. Who actually owns this data? How would it be transparent? Is the data real or fake? Another question as well, right? All the deep learning that's going out. I heard like people getting scam call right now with like a banker in Singapore, company lose like $10 million, someone transferring out with all the fake generative AI going on. So I think we are living in a kind of like the right time frame, right? But I think in terms of innovation, right, whether you're building AI or anything, right, crypto space is where everybody can start building and also absorbing the value on both sides, right? So that's the beauty and the nature of crypto, right? Like you don't have to be like a traditional company building in, right? So you can always add the token effect and make it more decentralized, and everybody has part or term or say in the whole kind of governance or the contract of it as well. Yeah, that's kind of my overview take on my end. Yeah.
I think that is very like fair examination, and I think in that case, also like so for KAITO, like actually as one of the users, like playing out with the product like day to day, I like super like excited like how you guys are like enhancing the product with the practical AI features like as of now. So actually bringing the industry vertical like a large language model, like it might have a different set of the industries we really have to take care of, like starting from like the TradFi, obviously, and like biotech, a law tech, and some of the other names to mention. So like I was curious like how you just ended up like choosing like a crypto space instead of like the other like vertical spaces out there. So what you are really like excited of the crypto space exactly?
Cool. So I guess maybe I'll just touch on white crypto, and then maybe I can touch on some of the AI features that we built. White crypto, I think is quite easy for me. I was, like I said, in traditional finance. I was a trader, started off for a long period of time. I was always interested in trading, and then obviously crypto back in the day was a new asset class, so naturally got very, very interested. But then at the same time, when I was doing a lot of the crypto research, I was very frustrated because information is all over the place, and everyone probably had the same experience in a way that, you know, when you try to search something either on Google for anything crypto related, or maybe even just on Twitter for anything crypto related, you always surfaced scams and irrelevant information, all that kind of stuff. There's a big frustration for me as well as all of the people that I constantly work with. So then it becomes very clear that the space definitely need a new tool that can really solve that problem. And then when 2 years ago, when I started building, AI wasn't a buzzword, but I think it was very clear to us we need to be leveraging AI because search engine at its core is a machine learning product. So that's essentially how we got started. But obviously over time, ChatGPT came along, a large language model came along, and it really opened up a lot of the new possibilities in terms of how we do things, right? So if you think about what KAITO does today, a lot of the features were just purely impossible before. And a lot of the features were actually, when I was set out, it would have been features that I would be dreaming of when I was kind of trading back in the day in a hedge fund. That I can explain some of the stuff, right? So for example, we train our own AI to essentially transcribe the entire space. So all the audio and video stuff in the space is now in our database, and everyone can essentially search across and discover content. Right? Every single podcast of every single episode of every single podcast, or the Twitter space, conferences such as today's, or Token 2049, etc. So there's wealth of knowledge that's really in the public domain, but it's not really being surfaced and discovered. That's number one. And a lot of other features, such as, we built out this feature called Cass's Calendar. Basically, for a trader back in the day, I would always kind of go through a lot of the manual work to identify future events and catalysts were important to my stocks. But then now we're essentially deploying a large language model to go through all the every single tweet, governance forum discussions, or the podcast interviews and stuff. And founders like yourself always love to tease about future stuff, and these kind of stuff will all be captured and very, very efficiently being laid out. And obviously, a lot of the other aspects of the product, including mindshare, sentiment tracking, all that kind of stuff, is only possible because now we have a large language model. So that these are a lot of the areas that we build in terms of really making information access and knowledge access much more efficient in the space. And the way I think about AI and crypto in general is there are obviously a lot of stuff that AI can really be helping crypto. And I think onboarding is a big part of that. KAITO's obviously now built a product that can really help all the institutions in the space accessing information and knowledge, but also at the same time, there's tremendous amount of potential in terms of how retail can get a better onboarding experience. The other day, like my cousin was asking me, how do I, learn about crypto, all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, it's actually extremely hard. You can't tell that a new retail, they essentially follow 1,000 relevant people on Twitter to be able to get the relevant information. So all that kind of stuff, and a lot of the very difficult and complicated transactions on chain can essentially be improved significantly if we have a proper AI agent that can really help with that. So that's one of the angles that we'll also kind of considering down the line as well. But I think information access in general, user experience improvement can go a long way in terms of helping the space acquire new users and providing an experience that people should actually all experience when they enter the space.
I like your answer. So basically, like bringing all the like AI stuff to like bridge all the like novice users to the Web3 space, like easing out their their education level and the hurdles they might have. So yeah, I think that really makes sense. And in that perspective, I think like Dan from Aether, sharing the same name with me, you might. You're building quite different product in this space. So you're building the distributed the hardware network for the GPU compute, right? So as a like fundamental question, like why should like blockchain elements be a part of the entire product? And would be like, great to hear like how you guys are differentiating from the other like decentralized compute network that has been already working in the space till now.
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, at the end of the day, we're core infrastructure. We're kind of boring, right? It's like, do you really care who your telco is, who your utility provider is? No one asks, like when they play a game, what servers are these on? Is this Google Cloud or AWS or whatever? But it's super crucial, right? And our team's background, having built and scaled like Tencent Cloud Gaming to about 38 million monthly active users, we faced a lot of hurdles in centralized cloud infrastructure, specifically when it relates to kind of latency sensitive and real-time use cases. And so what we figured was we would integrate only the best elements of blockchain technology necessary to overcome these hurdles, namely, one, a distributed hardware network, which, when we started building, I guess DePIN wasn't really a phrase yet, so it wasn't a coined term, and a token incentive to de-risk the kind of chicken and the egg, or like supply and demand model, right? Like, do you build $100 million worth of centralized IDC infrastructure before there's demand secured? Because obviously they won't onboard if you don't have the infrastructure out there. Or do you go to the demand and say, hey, come on board and maybe just deploy in this one region and hope that we'll build out services and support in all the other regions of your users over time, right? So utilizing elements of blockchain technology and a token incentivized model, we can de-risk some of this for compute providers, increase overall utilization of just existing compute. I think a lot of people hear about like this GPU shortage, right? And that's kind of a misleading statement. Actual GPU utilization around the world is only like 15-16%. So it's not that there's a GPU shortage. It's an improper matching of GPU to demand cases, right? And it's about discoverability and distribution channels. That's because like in centralized infrastructure, generally everyone's incentivized to keep their own clients or their own demand or their own supply to themselves, right? And that's what we aim to bridge, right? At the very, very base, we are an Airbnb for GPUs. We are a marketplace, but that's the very bare minimum. It's actually, there's no moat to building a marketplace, right? What we do especially well, and this is where it intersects with AI, is we create a use case that specifically requires like real-time engagement, right? So rather, we can do LLM training, but what we specialize is, say, like live virtual agents, a Sora-esque style AI interaction where you ask a shopping assistant or agent like, hey, do you have that in size XL? Do you have it in blue? Do you have a hat to go with it? And it's instantly visualizing and virtualizing every response and the correct content to that response as you go to assist in whatever shopping needs you might have, right? And this is one of the big distinctions between what Aether provides and what a lot of the other marketplaces out there can provide, because everyone else out there, or all solutions in market currently, they're static, right? It's very task job-based work inputs, right? Like I click the GPUs I want to deploy a cluster in, I submit a task, I click submit, right? Like when I wait 6 hours, a couple weeks, maybe a month, and it returns some result, or maybe it rendered a movie for me or something, right? But what we provide is, it's like a real VM instance, right? If you jump, it jumps. If you tell it to go left, it goes left. If you ask it a question, it responds in real time. And that's our moat and differentiation. And that's why we believe our solution is the only scalable solution to service future AI content needs.
Cool. I think, yeah, that really differentiates a bit of furthering the realm itself to expect more, more from the computing space, like decentralizing that layer. So, actually cool. yeah, wanna like hear more about like what like, AI can do for the like Web3 gaming industry, since like I think you both are coming from the like similar like backgrounds, right? So like Andy, you spend a lot of time in the traditional side and also like for the Web3 side as well for the gaming. So just wanted to hear about like how you were thinking about the impact of the AI that should make in the crypto space. Is it good or bad, or like is it like positive or like negative? Like how will it eventually impact the market as a whole?
I look at Sanjay right now, his laughter right now. He knows exactly what I'm going to say, actually. He knows, like, he has a few guesses. So, I think you heard from a lot of panelists on stage, right? Saying that AI is great. It's a technology that will enable human beings to be more productive, as well as to be more, to be able to be more knowledgeable in a sense. Using AI in the gaming industry is something I have contemplated with my team as well. And our conclusion is really simply that we don't think it really helps the industry at all. There is there are language models that can train a lot of things, but there is something you cannot train, is the human creativity. They create the human emotions that a lot of people are trying to do today. We have tried using AI in trying to build our own games as well. We have tried trading NPCs and to actually talk to different players in order to capture their ideas and try to talk to them, so we don't have to actually do script and actually and try to make it more interesting. Our players hate it. They actually don't like actually talk to the NPC that actually talks to the AI. They want to talk to real people. And I think that's why in today's industry, in gaming, you really haven't seen an AI bot or anything in AI that actually has changed it yet. Because like I said, you can't really train creativity. Yes, it has increased our productivity. I will admit to it. But my designers still work their ass off trying to actually design the best characters out there today. Because you simply can't have an AI model that actually create characters that you want. A lot of them actually tried doing it with prompts, but they spent more time doing prompts. And by the time they actually finish all the prompts, they can actually draw them themselves and actually create these characters much faster. So why do we need AIs in gaming? We don't, I think.
Oh, that's super clear and like obvious that you're.
Can I ask a question? Actually,
Go ahead.
I'd love to understand your take on this, because I do disagree in some respects. But do you think it's just a matter of maturity in the AI industry? Like, give it.
I'll say the same thing.
Yeah, give it 3 years, and I mean, you've seen like the pre-Sora versions of Will Smith eating spaghetti and what it does now. Like, in 3 years' time, do you think your answer would be different?
I think by the time my kids graduate from school, it will not change at all, to be honest. There's certain things that, like I said, there's certain things can be trained. Yes, they can create artistic videos. The Sora model can definitely do that. But human behaviors change as well too. Can the LLM models catch up to the pace of human behavior change? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Thought of point. So basically, like I was just wondering. I was thinking of like asking like each of you like the downsides, like downfall of like using the crypto and AI in the space. But I think literally Andy like alone really covered a lot of things in that space first. And but still wonder like each of you like and anyone could just jump in. Basically like how like AI and all the, it's like a bit of like a buzzword as like you just mentioned, right? But still at the same time there's still like partially we the point that we really need to decentralize to actually mitigate the centralized risks from what we are witnessing in the like industry. So like just tapping a bit more like a positive positive way first, and then we get back to your point as well. So just anyone can like tell your like thought of points, like your point of view, like where should be the point that we really should make the decentralization out of the entire AI stack. Anyone?
I have some negative things to say.
All right, we could just play out with the negative one.
So maybe for me, right, personally, like, I think as like a investment fund, or sometimes when we do investment, I would say 99 or 95% of the project that use the AI as a buzzword is like, I would say like it doesn't really do AI like a lot of time, right? So you have to dig deep in, right? It's just like the buzzword for them to raise the fund or like just make it very confusing for you to understand the whole thing. And they're like, oh, it's AI. But actually, if you dive into it, it's like, it's just a data layer or just a big data, just something very normal, right? So I think to have a real impact, we need some, probably like AI need to mature quite a bit. Like right now, I think we're growing at quite at a fast pace at the moment in time. We'll probably get there quite soon, but actually probably kind of differentiate in the future as well. Those who can use AI and those who neglect using AI. So even as a trader, right? Like, I mean, you have platform like KAITO, like for example, like if you want to use like for trading perspective, like you'll have more leverage, like more upper advantage on that hand, right? But if you're not using it and just doing the traditional way, like people doing the Twitter search, whatnot, right? You're losing out a bit on edge, right? So in this market, I don't think everybody can win at the same time. So I think those who adapt and kind of like goes with like the tool you have and what you're exposed with is where you will probably pick out the winner on that end. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Okay, I mean, I want to be a little devil's advocate on this. Like, as with any empowering technology, right? Like, there's good actors and bad actors, right? Just look at the internet. First wave of adoption of the internet was generally bad actors, right? Like scams, etc. And I think with AI, you see certain bad actor use cases pop up, but I think all that does is actually prove the inherent value of AI, because any time there's extra additional accrual of value to be squeezed out of something, it's usually the bad actors that adopt it first, right? They prove out the value to the entire industry, and then the industry figures out how to properly.
well, it's kind of showcasing for everyone, right?
Yeah, right. Like it's overcoming some barriers of entry. That's seeding the first type of adoption, even if it's not always in like the most positive use case. I think it's proving out the value of AI, right? And it's like Spider-Man. With great powers come great responsibility, in a good or a bad way. What we see happening is AI is lowering the barrier of entry for content for a lot of people, right? Like previously, and you saw this with internet adoption as well, folks generally were gated from information and knowledge and access and globalization because they didn't have the internet. We see a similar trend happening with AI and AI creation of content at a very, very quick rate. Maybe it's not the most high quality content, but it's bringing from like 0 to 1. So maybe it's not 10, it's not perfect, but it's something more than I think what people used to be able to access. So there's some positivity there, right?
I mean, we have all these VTuber coming out already, right? So next in line is going to be like all this influencer, and we're going to talk paying AI as an influencer instead of real human. I think maybe. What do you think about that, though? I think you have something to say.
But this is what scares me every single day, man. My kids caught talking to an AI agent and rather date them and talk to them rather going to talk to a real human being. That is my biggest fear of all time, man. Look, I agree. Like I said, right, increase the productivity. I will admit to it, but I think there are certain things you can't change. Is how you actually train the soul. I think that's where, yes, it's a little bit early in terms of adoption and technology, but I think this is one thing that no technology can take away, is how human beings behave. They will never, ever, ever learn the way that they could, or replicate the way that human react to certain things really quickly, because their sample size is that big, and it's even though it's increasing, it depends on what you're feeding into it. You can't react to it like we are doing right now on the stage.
Maybe I'll just chime in for the last bit. I think just kind of in terms of the question, was where there is kind of the most risk in terms of AI today. I think maybe in terms of the model training process, although that part of the process, I don't think blockchain or decentralization in general are helping. But though at the same time, we do have a lot of open source models that come into place. Llama 3, for example, is extremely good in terms of just where we internally tested, all that kind of stuff. I think the world is coming together to have alternative models that are decent enough for everyone to be using. And, access in general. The other part, which I also think is potentially dangerous, is in a world where a large amount of information and content is actually AI generated, is actually becoming extremely cheap to fake stuff. I actually listened to a lot of the talk last year. There's one I remember very clearly was by Eric Schmidt, which is the former CEO of Google, as well as Chainlink as well. So they've been talking about this verifiable web idea in terms of in the future, if the amount of fake stuff is order of magnitude more than the amount of actual stuff, then you might actually need blockchain for verification. Because the only source of truth is when certain information is actually verified, because there's just so much fake stuff out there. I think that's extremely important, especially for the kind of the future years that we live in, because we're going to be bombarded with fake information around us, but also presents great opportunity for the technology that we have at hand in terms of actually using blockchain to verify source of truth for all of these. So that's kind of another thing. The third thing maybe I'll just add was the other day, I think 2 days ago, Perplexity just announced a mega round. It's obviously the most prominent Google contender right now. What scares me a little bit is the retail subscription currently doesn't work because nobody wants to pay for search. At the same time, they're actively thinking about putting ads to the natural language answers, and in a way that they were actually saying that if you do that, what you realize is that it's very difficult for people to decipher this actually ads. But that's actually very dangerous, right? In terms of the amount of information that we receive in a conversational way, but not able to very, very clearly tell certain things are the ads. So that's also a bit of a centralization risk in terms of if there's a central part. Obviously, we've seen how Google evolved over the years. It was, very much like really loved product maybe 10 years ago versus a lot of the controversies now that they're facing. There is also a centralization risk if there is one single entity that has control in terms of how information is being presented to all the people. So that actually triggers me to be thinking whether there's a way for the search engine to be decentralized, curated by the community as well. So just some thoughts that I've been having, but I think definitely that's it's a very dynamic, evolving space. Very interesting.
Yeah, so I think the same. So in any way, like we should really be cautious as a builder and also the investor in the space, really crafting the next generation of like how the different and also a bit of quite controversial technology get into space and merging with each other. So probably it's going to be really nice since we're like running out of time. It's going to be really great to hear like all from all of you, like a 2 cents for the builders in the market, building making all the intersections between the crypto and AI, and also for the audiences who might be navigating through all the different narratives and the different the product as a user. We can just make it short.
I'll just say that always similar to kind of when people ask me back in the days, what do I do in terms of the startup? Never think about a solution first. Actually think about a problem first, right? When you think about doing something in AI or blockchain in general, think about a problem that you're trying to solve first, and then come up with a solution.
For me, basically, I think we're still very early in both the AI and the blockchain space, and we're still very early in the mass adoption phase as well, right? So we're seeing like all these AI agents get adopted. So I mean, if you're a builder, investor, I think you're never late to the game, even at this moment in time. So always a great time to come in, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say I think both AI and blockchain technology are just great tools for helping anyone bring something or a product to market faster, right? Bring it to market, iterate quickly, get feedback, and pivot. And that's something that I think crypto or Web3 founders can do well.
It's like what's there to stay.
All right. So I would say choose your technology wisely.
Be careful of AI.
Be careful of AI. Because I think it's really about whether you need it or not, and not just because it's cool and you just use it in your own product. Ultimately, you really need to think about who you're building this for. So I agree with you really try to think about the problem first, but ultimately, who is having those issues and who's having those problems? You need to think about whether this will actually make their lives easier, or actually will this actually be more fun to them. And hopefully my kids does not talk to an AI bot in the future and refuses to talk to humans. I think that's my biggest fear still.
I really like the time discussing with you guys with like most like sincere and honest like opinion from each of you. So yeah, thank you for all the time I spent listening to this wonderful panelist. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.